Hi everyone, welcome to On the Other Hand. I'm Ariane Zurcher. I'm going to talk about what I'm doing with this mixed media piece that I've been working on, and also sort of work through my process. In other words, when I start to feel stuck, what do I do? And what's next? And how do I kind of keep moving even when I'm feeling that feeling of, I don't know where this is going. I have no idea what I'm doing. Now what? So I have a couple of different things that I do, and I'll show those in the video. So I'll go ahead and turn you around, and we can get started, and I'll show you what I'm thinking and how things are going. So here's my piece. You can see I added my little lichen, which I did a video on. I'll put that video up I'll link it up in the right-hand corner. So if you're interested in how I did that, you can see it. I've got the bottom here. I was thinking that I would kind of cut this one off and leave this one kind of hanging out. I sort of love this, just this top part sort of going up, and this. I was going to cut it, and then I thought, I don't want to do that. I don't know what I'm doing with this. That's the thing. I have some chicken wire that I started to play with. Thinking that I would put it in the back and tack it down and then start to be able to bend this into different shapes and stuff, which could be really cool. But I haven't really, and maybe I'll do that. I don't know. Let me back this up so you can see. So here's the chicken wire. So the idea would be to kind of tack it down in places, which would be fairly easy. I could even bunch it in places if I wanted, and then start bending it, and then apply it to a flat board or something. So you get this more sort of sculptural. After I started doing those vessels, which if you haven't seen the vessels, I can put some of those videos up in the upper right corner too. You'll see a I think it's an eye, and if you click on that, I think a drop-down menu comes. I don't know, they keep sort of changing how they're doing it, but a drop-down menu will come, hopefully, and you can see the other videos that I'm linking as I talk. So I added this little bit of turquoise here. But for the most part, this is really getting pretty close to being done. But now what, So again, maybe what I'll do is apply the chicken wire. While I'm figuring that out, though, I have some other things that I can do. So this is what happens. I get into a place where I'm sort of like, I just don't know what I'm doing here. Now, another thing, so there are two things. I can start playing around. The danger is that I want to start adding stuff, and then it's, overkill. The other thing that I like to do is take a photo of this, remove all the color from the photo. I'll put an image of that as I'm talking so you can see what I mean. I look at it on the computer, I expand it, and then I can make notations so I can see the value. Do I have too much dark? Do I have too much? It's a lot of gray right now, but there are a lot of variations in gray, and there is enough sort of black or very dark and then much lighter. And I like the composition. So it's really. And I just don't want something flat. I'm so tired of doing stuff that's flat. So I'm thinking that this chicken wire might be the way to go. So while I'm sort of letting that marinate, I am going to go over to this piece, which, if you can see over the mess, this one, and I'll show you what I'm up to over there. Okay, well, I've got a bunch of stuff getting in the way, but you kind of get the general idea. This is a monoprint that I did. So what I'm working on right now is this. I have this rice paper, and I'm in the process of stitching it down, as you can see here. I'm kind of following the circles in here, and I'm doing it on the wall because taking it down, it's so big, it's actually kind of just I don't know, maybe I'm being lazy, but I'm telling myself that the reason I'm doing this is because it's easier for me to do this, just sit, like I'll just move over and sit, and then also, I don't know, yeah, I think it's easier to just do this as I'm sitting, but I don't know if you can see the hand stitching here and all here. This is a piece of fabric that I put over it, over the canvas. When I get sort of like stuck in this project, then I come over here, and so that's what I'm kind of doing, is I'm working on this now. So I just finished sewing all of this down, this rice paper. And now I'm going to move up to this part, which I only have pinned right here. I have this area up here pinned. And so I'm going to stitch all that down. And then I might also use chicken wire to give this some movement, because again, I don't want this to just be flat against the wall. So what I'm thinking, putting this piece, I've actually got a hole in it, but it doesn't matter, behind here, behind this circle, and being able to move this so that it actually comes out in different shapes. There might be other areas in here that I can do that. I'll try it on this area here and see what I think. But before I do anything like that, I really need to make sure that I'm not adding anything else. I think this area is pretty much finished, but I'm not sure. There's a bit in here that I may play with. So, this is where I'm at. So when I start to feel frustrated or bored with this piece, I'm going to go back to the other one. And then and if I have a third project or start a third project, then I can sort of go between the three. But that's how I deal with feelings of just, I don't know where I'm going with this. It's just kind of move to something else. Another thing I do is I start winding threads, or, as you can see here, clean up, because I can always clean stuff up. Tell me what you do when you feel stuck. What works for you? Here's what I've been working on, doing little crosses in this, and I'll continue, but it is honestly a bit tedious. And I'm pretty patient, but I do find this a little tedious. But I'm sort of committed, so I'm going to keep going. This one I might actually machine stitch down, and then I'm going to play with that chicken wire idea over here, and I'll see how that goes. And I'm not feeling so stuck, which is great, because that's kind of one of those feelings, I decided to do some French knots just in the areas that are sort of blotchy, because when you pull back, it just gives it a little texture, which I really like. So I'm just going to do that here, here, and in here. And then I'm finishing up this. So I just have a little bit of area here, and then I'm kind of done with that. Then I'm going to move on to this. And I'm definitely going to put the chicken wire in here to see how that looks. So it's exciting. I'm excited by where I'm going with this, kind of moving back and forth between the two. So you can see where I did all the French knots here to fill in the space, but if you back away, it kind of looks cool. It just gives it like this little texture feeling. And now what I've done is I've cut a piece of chicken wire, and I am tacking it down in places so that I get it to stretch across here, and then I can start manipulating it. But yeah, so next time I come on, I'll have tacked it down and started to create different shapes with this, so you can see what I'm thinking. I want to end this video with just a quick comment about the importance of self-care and how this is benefiting my art practice. Fear has dogged me most of my adult life until very recently. And one of the biggest things that has helped me has been in realizing how important it is to be of service. But no one ever mentioned or spoke to me about how to be of service to myself. And that has been one of the biggest challenges I have faced in my adult life, because I was taught to believe that anything to do with myself was being self-indulgent, selfish, bad. Anytime I would try to figure out how to be loving to myself, it felt bad, it felt wrong, it felt indulgent, all these negatives, right? What I am learning and what I have learned is that developing a loving relationship with myself is the foundation on which I can then be of service to others. Because without that, I can be of service, but very quickly I'm going to start feeling burnt out. I'm going to start feeling all these other things that are confusing. And then inevitably, I turn on myself and start criticizing myself for having these feelings. And the cycle continues.